Howdy, everybody. Welcome into Lynchburg, Virginia, where field hockey fans rejoice. Great regional matchup here between the 17th ranked University of Lynchburg Hornets and the Christopher Newport Captains. It's going to be a great one. I'm Tim LaDuca alongside Sam Graham, and it's going to be a good one. Hopefully the rain stays away.
Yeah, hopefully that rain holds off. Lynchburg coming off a great win over Earlham, their third shutout of the season. For the Captains, coming off of a win over Catholic, another solid win. They're on that side of things here today as well.
Yeah, so these two teams match up fairly well. As we mentioned, Lynchburg is in the top 20 of the national poll, but Christopher Newport actually has the edge in just about every stat you see up there on the screen, except for notably the save percentage, because I know we all should know Kayla Brady is having a fantastic season here in her junior year, and I know she's a player that you are going to keep your eye on this game.
Yeah, we've got a few players to watch here today for you guys at home. We'll start off with Abby Asuncion for the Captains. She, as you can see there, the reigning coast-to-coast Offensive Player of the Year. As you just touched on, the strength for this Lynchburg Hornet team is its defense, so it'll be really interesting to see how she matches up against some of the defensive stalwarts on the other side, such as Aaron Boatwright. Then it's Lily Kerr, made 3 straight starts in the goal. She's only surrendered 1 goal so far. That highlights one half of a fantastic goalie matchup today. The goalie on the other side there on the bottom right side of your screen, Kayla Brady, who you just touched on. She has the best save percentage in the ODAC at 83%. And obviously a big factor in that 1.07 goals against average for the Hornets coming into today. Then finally, it's Brittany Clayball. As you can see there, has scored in 2 of the team's last 3 games. One of those was the first goal in last week's win over Earlham.
Yeah, we'll see if she's able to crack the code of Lily Kerr in the cage for the Captains, but don't go anywhere. We know you're excited for this one. We are too. We'll be back in a little bit for lineups here on Schellenberger Field.
Want to have some outdoor adventures while getting a degree at the same time? At the University of Lynchburg, we have an on-campus zip line and rope course. Plus, we offer adventure trips that cost less than a cup of coffee. And did I mention our beautiful scenery? We're a university for students looking for something more than just books. Welcome to your new adventure experience.
Welcome back. Lineups have been announced on the field, national anthem, but we'll give you the lineups as well. First, for the visiting Captains, you have Lainey Pratzner, Morgan Arthur, and Brooke Billheimer. Then you got Alexis Morales, Chloe Thompson, Emma Logue. Delaney Knorr is out there for the Captains. Katie Aubenchain is out there, as well as Marcella Sabaw. And in goal is Lily Kerr, and then rounding out the lineup for Christopher Newport, number 25, Abby Asuncion.
And touching on that lineup, before we hop over to Lynchburg, Emma Logue leading the Captains so far in both goals and assists this year.
Yeah, so a little different looking lineup as the team's ready to face off. We'll get you through Lynchburg's lineup really quick as it's out there. Of course, Kayla Brady's in goal. Brittany Claybaugh, another player to watch we mentioned, will be out there. Mallory Lamb, a freshman, getting some work out there. She's been in the starting lineup a good majority of the season. Riley Cameron, a stalwart on defense, is out there for the Hornets. Olivia Muir, Sarah McCullum, Marlu Vendricks. Kessa Romero's out there. No goals yet on the season, but she has 3 assists. She's been making her presence felt so far as Lynchburg's got an early rush. Micah Oches, Emily Yanis, and Aaron Boatwright. And right in time, as lineups finish up, we have ourselves our first corner of the game.
Corners certainly look to be a big part of this game. More so for the Captains. Interesting that we have the Hornets taking the first one today, but Captains come in with 115 penalty corners on the year. That's a big number. And taking the most of them so far for the Captains is Chloe Thompson. She's got 55 of those corners, but it looks like we're going to have Clayball put things in action here for Lynchburg.
Claybaugh has done a majority of the inserting of the corners this year for the Hornets. Let's see what she has here in the first 30 seconds. Romero's going to have it. She's going to dribble to her right. Takes a shot. That one stopped in front. And nothing doing there as Sarah McCullum almost got on the other end of it. And testing early, Lily Kerr. As you mentioned, only 1 goal so far allowed for her. the freshman from Annapolis, Maryland, has played well in net as of late.
Yeah, we touched on that, getting the starts in the goal in those last 3 games, and she's been nothing short of fantastic. Obviously, in the pregame, we talked about Lynchburg's defense a lot, but Christopher Newport certainly comes into this one with a good squad on that side of the ball as well. In losses this year, they've had 3 of them, but they're averaging just a goal per game. So if Lynchburg can keep them out of the net, that will greatly heighten their chances to win this contest.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to batten down the hatches here early on as both teams get their first penalty corners in the first 2 minutes. And we'll get to see some more of this Christopher Newport offense. This possession started out with Emma Logue dribbling on the right side, and she was contested well by Erin Boatwright at first, but eventually found her way to a second penalty corner of the game for either team.
Chloe Thompson puts that one into play. And then we see Kayla Brady making her first play on the ball there, protecting the net as she has done so well so far this season, notably in that game earlier this year, Lynchburg's Code Red game against then number 3 Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, that win helped the Hornets jump their way into the top 20, now ranked up to 17th in the country. You know, Enza Steele's program is just perennial members of the NFHCA, top 20 poll. They do a great job. Making sure everyone is aware of all the talented teams here in Division III field hockey. Vendricks nearly is able to skate by Sabaw, but Sabaw makes a good defensive play. So in the wet elements, Sam, I assume that the midfield is going to be a big point that both teams are going to have to focus on, making nice, crisp passes and able to possess the ball in the slippery conditions. And able to get through the defense in order to set up their offense is going to be definitely a point of emphasis.
Certainly, especially on a turf field like this, the rain can absolutely make a big difference in how you attack a game. I was actually out there on the field earlier today getting a run in, but I guess in a way scouting out the conditions down there. It was wet earlier this morning. The rain held off for a bit, but now it's coming down pretty well. You can see there, top of your screen, puddles of water pooling up there on the track. So when you're not on an AstroTurf field and you're on a field like this that caters a little bit more to the soccer and lacrosse sports, it certainly looks to affect the way that each of these 2 teams play, especially a team like Christopher Newport that loves to get up and down the field. As we've seen with their goals per game average coming into today, they've scored 5+ already 4 times on the year.
And tested early there. Here's some couple plays for Kayla Brady. Lynchburg defense comes up with a foul on the captains in the box, but Brady had to kick away a couple of those chances for the captains, and she's able to make the play. It's going to be interesting to see just how this game performs a little differently here in the rain. Temperature's not too bad. Looking down at my watch that tells me the temperature is 59 degrees. You agree with that?
That sounds about right.
All right.
Feels pretty nice and cozy up here in the press box. Do have this window open to kind of help with those sight lines. Otherwise, we'd have that rain pulling up on the screen. So we're protected from the rain coming down here, but it is certainly a dreary one out on Schellenberger Field. It's kept a lot of the students away today.
Yeah, and the campus has been battling with a little bit of a power outage issue, but luckily we got all of our resources back around 10:45 as we were setting up. Everything came to life here, and gladly, because this is a great field hockey matchup that we wanted to have our full resources for, and we do. Sabo tries to insert it into the heart of the defense, but coming up with a good play there. Chloe is Lynchburg. But on the restart here, it's going to be Sabaw again. Sabaw's been on the front end a lot of these restarts for the captains so far. That shot goes haywire and way wide.
Yeah, we talked about the wet field conditions already, but you have to imagine, even in setting up shots, it just seems like it would greatly increase the chances for error just in lining up with the stick, looking to make, clear contacts and I imagine we'll see quite a few balls go haywire as that one did throughout the course of this game.
So here's Lynchburg through the midfield. Brittany Claybaugh takes a touch a little bit too far. Battling across the Lynchburg typeface there on Schellenberger Field. Prominently reminding everyone where this game is being played. So after 2 early chances, 1 for each team on the penalty corners, the captains have kind of settled in here and started to really set up their offense a couple of times. Brady's had to make a play, and now she may have to make another one as we're going to get the second penalty corner of the afternoon.
Obviously, we touched on that already, but like we said, expect this to be a theme. This is where the captains have scored 7 of their goals so far this season coming off of these penalty corners. Like we said, they like to push the ball. They like to be aggressive. They like to attack. And coming from that, you're going to get some chances here in some of these set plays. And this is the third one already, or excuse me, the second one we've seen so far today. So
Logue's going to insert this one. Finds Abenshawn. Her shot stopped in front. A battle for it. Trying to get free with it is Mallory Lamb, and she's going to draw the foul, and that's going to give Lynchburg a chance to escape here.
Looked like Riley Cameron jumped in there to stop that one before it quite got to Brady. We talked about the defense early today as you see that shot once more. You see number 14, Riley Cameron, in there to help break that up. We talked about Aaron Boatwright in the pregame as one of those defensive stalwarts for a defensive-minded team, but certainly Riley Cameron and all of this Lynchburg defense contribute in trying to help make Kayla Brady's job a little bit easier as they were able to do there on that set play.
Yeah, it looks like that one did get all the way into Brady there, and she was able to knock that one away for her second save of the game. Lynchburg gains possession again after Vendrick sent a ball in that was it hit Emily Giannis.
Giannis leading the Hornets in goals so far this year with 8. Scored 1 in that last win over Earlham as well.
All right, so in a messy game like this with the rain, having these chances set up for you, nice and organized from the penalty corner is going to be, I think that's going to really play the difference so far, and we've already seen 4 of them now. Clayball this time inserting from the opposite corner.
Oh, absolutely. Rain makes things sloppy, so set plays obviously are always something to look for, but especially today. Oh, that one just misses.
And it's Vendricks who takes a good shot there, just goes wide.
Wendrick's leading this Hornet team in shots so far this year. Shots on goal as well. She has 18 coming into today and just nearly misses on that last opportunity.
Yeah, it's exciting to see a lot of the first-year students out there for the Hornets getting some chances. It's a little surprising to see a freshman leading the team in shots. But she's been able to, turn those into some good opportunities, and she actually had a hat trick earlier this season, so she's leading in shots and also getting a lot of results out of it as well.
Well, and speaking to Coach Steele throughout the year, certainly you think of the first person that comes to mind off of this team last year is Jackie Laro. How do you look to replace production like that? And certainly a lot of these first and second year ladies have come in and really helped to fill that void. And obviously this isn't quite the same offensive production as far as the numbers go as it has been in years past, but obviously the defense is fantastic, and it's great to see that production as the year goes on, steadily increase from some of those younger girls.
Touched in the arc by a Christopher Newport player, so Lynchburg will gain possession. You just saw Brady make a nice sprawling, not a save, just got the ball out of harm's way. Good play there from Brady. Even when she's not, recording those official saves, she's still making a lot of good heads-up plays, maybe pushing the limits a little bit, diving onto your belly when you're the last line of defense. She had to make that play, and she made sure of it. So here's Vendricks again, though. Lynchburg's had some success utilizing Vendricks here on the left side, trying to get into the offensive scoring zone.
And Brady today certainly is likely to be tested as she was in that Johns Hopkins game. I believe it was 24 shots that she faced throughout the course of that one. We touched on 30 shots per game coming in for the captains, and we see 4 already here in this first period. Actually a little off their normal pace, but certainly expect her to be tested.
Yeah, and something we failed to mention in the pregame, National Defensive Player of the Week for Brady after her performance, 16 saves against Johns Hopkins. This is the number 3 team in the country coming into your place, and to shut them out for the first time since 2018. And in that shutout, Johns Hopkins actually didn't even lose that game. It actually went to strokes, and Johns Hopkins won that one, but the final score, goes into the box score as 0-0, a shutout. But, that's just it's an amazing job, and it's good to see the junior stepping up into a big role.
Certainly. It's funny with sports like field hockey or soccer or lacrosse are the same way. In that game, Lynchburg only put 4 shots. They only put 4 shots up. 2 of them find the back of the net, though, and that proves to be the difference. So it's not always just the number of shots that you're able to take, but obviously how efficient can you be and how often can you capitalize on those opportunities when they arise.
Close back-to-back whistles here as Claybug is called for the foul there in the midfield, but maybe a little surprisingly, Sam, the number of fouls so far has been kind of low. Looking at the stats so far, just 6 fouls so far between the two teams. There's number 7, but a pretty clean, pretty nicely played game so far.
Absolutely. One thing that is interesting here is almost a little bit surprising is how far you see some of these defenders. You see as Aaron Boatwright makes her way near midfield here, playing very far up on the field. Because now it's just Cameron and Brady on the Lynchburg back half. With a team that's this aggressive and looks to take this many shots, it's interesting to put the pressure on them more around midfield instead of waiting back and kind of setting up your defense. So we'll see if that continues. But certainly right now, Lynchburg looks to want to keep things on the left side of the field as much as possible. Just try to keep the captains from being able to put together a formal attack.
Yeah, so here's Boatwright on playing in the back all the way up here. She's going to have this restart. So that's a dangerous ball. And it's going to go into the favor of the captains now. Marcella Sabah getting things restarted here. Her pass intercepted, though, by Otjes. Possession changing hands frequently right now in the midfield here. Vivian Pope is subbed in, and she tried the long pass there, but Lynchburg's able to stop it. Played up. Giannis battling for it. Giannis called for the foul on Billheimer.
Yeah, very interesting to note as we now crawl towards the 2-minute remaining mark of this first period. These two teams come in averaging a combined 52 shots per game. We've seen a combined 5 so far today. A lot of this game being played kind of between those two blue lines, or the red lines rather, really just staying in the middle of the field.
Yeah, and both teams really their only chances coming via the penalty corner. But you're not going to be able to draw a penalty corner if you don't have possession inside the arc there.
Exactly.
So you can rely on the penalty corners all you want, but you got to get the ball into the arc in order to draw those chances.
Absolutely. I touched on that 7 goals off of penalty corners number for the captains coming into today. They've played, this is their 10th game, so 7 goals off those set plays through their first 9. That's about 1 goal a game. So they want to set up those plays and they want to capitalize at least once, one would have to imagine, throughout the course of this game. So that will be something to certainly keep your eye on.
65 seconds left here in the first period. That one just gets Asuncion, who is the coast-to-coast player of the year last season. So a lot of talent on this field. You have the defensive player of the week a couple weeks ago in Brady. a former player of the year in Assumption. We'll see who's going to be able to break through and make the biggest difference. So far, I'd have to say Brady, with the 3 saves already, has already left her mark here as we got 30 seconds to play. Late chance for the Hornets. Vendricks, that one's kicked away, though, by Kerr. And the Hornets will have a chance to restart.
Very quickly so we see things get back into play now, touching on Assumption as the Captains nearly take the ball away, but it's going to remain with the Hornets. Assumption, we talked in the pregame about seeing how she would fare against this Lynchburg defense, whether that's Kayla Brady or the defenders back there as well. And so far, we've only called her name the one time, and that's just an errant ball that looked like hit her on the back of the leg. So good job by these Lynchburg defenders through that first quarter.
Yeah, the Hornets there in the last 30 seconds get a little bit of an opportunity, some shots that get into Kerr. Kerr made a save and preserves the 0-0 draw so far. But Sam and I will be back in a little bit after this break.
At the University of Lynchburg, we've lowered our tuition, so you get a better value for a great education. Come see our campus for yourself.
When creating a sustainable future, your choices matter, even your choice of a college. The University of Lynchburg is the first college in Virginia to go carbon neutral. Our dining hall is Green Restaurant certified. We compost all of our food waste and purchase our electricity from landfill gas. Now we're turning a hazardous lake into a thriving urban wetland. When you choose Lynchburg, you leave a smaller footprint while building a better tomorrow.
Welcome back to Schellenberger Field as we get set for this second period of play between the Captains and the Hornets. Big number to look at from that first quarter. Penalty corners ended up being tied 2-2. We talked about it several times, but this game certainly right now, it is at the 0-0 draw that it currently stands at, absolutely favors the Lynchburg Hornets. CNU, in the 3 losses that they have suffered so far this year, they've been held to just an average of 1 point in all 3 of those games. So the lower this score can stay, the higher the probability of Lynchburg finding a way to pull this win out is.
Excellently put, Sam, as things get restarted here at a rainy day in the Hill City of Lynchburg, Virginia. Rainier city than Seattle, I've heard. And definitely proving it right now as Hurricane Ian is wrapping up in the Blue Ridge Mountains. We're going to have another penalty corner here. Things get started just pretty similarly to the way they started in the first quarter, as Lynchburg will have their 4 in the cage standing surrounding Brady.
You have to imagine this has been a big point in practice all throughout this week with Coach Enza Steele to try and encourage her team to limit the penalty corners as much as possible. Christopher Newport took 13 in their last win over Wilson College, so not on pace for that 13 number right at present moment, but they're close. This is their 3rd of the game, so
an interference call is going to blow this play dead, and it looked like Christopher Newport had a good opportunity there, fired a good shot, but it wasn't going to find the back of the cage regardless.
It was not. Yeah, they certainly did get a good, clean look at it, kind of a right-on shot, but talked about that wet turf, and you see that ball. Obviously, you have the interference call, but ball just totally goes haywire to the right a little bit, kind of like we saw earlier with that shot to the left in the first quarter. So it gets a lot harder to shoot when you're dealing with a wet grass.
Battle in front, couple of sticks. Brady's on the ground, kicks it away, and a foul on the Captains is going to get the Hornets out of harm's way. Brady tested again, though, here, and she's played well.
Let's take a look at this again. You see Brady on the ground just battling for this, picks up her 5th save of the match already. She's been fantastic. We touched on the pregame, leading the ODAC in save percentage. Essentially, if you try and shoot on Kayla Brady, you have a 17% chance of that ball finding the back of the net. That is not a very high. It's not a very high likelihood. So she's been fantastic in the goal so far and been fantastic so far today as well.
Yeah, you mentioned it's not just her, though. The Lynchburg defense is going to have to make plays, too. And Riley Cameron was in there to disrupt Emma Logue, who was trying to get a shot off, was not able to, release one. And pretty good defensive stand there again. Cameron steps up. Can't make a play on it. Now Muir is fouled. Looking for Vendricks, but Muir's pass is intercepted there by Arthur. Logue touched that one, and Lynchburg's going to win possession.
Yeah, lucky that Lynchburg awarded the possession there, as you saw Aaron Boatwright make a play on the ball, similar to that of a corner in football, making a play for an interception. She goes to try and force that turnover. Obviously, ball ends up being awarded to the Hornets anyway, but ball does sneak by Boatwright.
This ball goes out the goal line, so the Hornets are going to have possession here. Can't get that one into the arc. Mallory Lamb here is able to stop the Captains from advancing past midfield.
We talked earlier about that defensive back line for the Hornets playing up. Just a moment ago, every single Hornet outside of Kayla Brady back there in goal was on the left side of the field. So both teams trying to find a way to control this game, but what we've seen so far still is a lot of it being played around the midfield area, as we see right now. Ball trading back and forth possessions.
Madison Mark there with the foul on the play. Mark played excellent last season in her freshman season as this ball escapes past the Lynchburg defense. Boatwright able to turn Nor away for the moment. And good defensive play there by Boatwright. Junior from Fredericksburg, Virginia, coming up big there. Because that ball just kind of slipped past everybody. Not only the Lynchburg defense, but a couple of offensive Captains players let that one get away from them. And Nor was able to, luckily, run on the other end of it. Here she is again, though. Defended by Muir.
Yeah, certainly. Boatwright gets in there, essentially in one-on-one coverage there, and is able to prevent a possible big play from happening from Nor, one of the big offensive standouts on this Captain's team. But Boatwright, the all-region defender, just comes in there and disrupts it.
Sawbaugh sends it in. Asuncion thinking about making a shot. She does. This one off the post. Oh, so close for the Captains to jump into a lead.
You saw Brady stick her leg out for that one, just mistimed it. I think we get the replay here. See that sweep across, and Brady just barely misses it with her leg. Luckily for the Hornets, it taps the post and slides out of play, but close call there for Kayla Brady and the Lynchburg Hornets.
Yeah, so you mentioned, Sam, in the first half, Asuncion, a little bit quiet, but already now she's taken 2 shots and some pretty big plays, good chances from the senior from Sterling, Virginia.
Yeah, just as we were talking about a lot of this game being played more on the left side or in the middle of the field, we've now, for a few minutes, really most of the second quarter, we've started to see a lot more of it being played on the right side. So we'll see how this Lynchburg defense is able to hold up against a very potent Christopher Newport offense if the game does indeed stay on the right side of the field.
Marina Nadwoni out there now for the Hornets. She's checked in for the first time this afternoon. Lynchburg, a little bit of an advantage. You're only allowed to have 11 players on the field at once, obviously, but Lynchburg with a much deeper bench than the captains. So we'll see if that makes any difference. You know, colder weather, though, it's going to, you know, keep it a little easier on the players' bodies this afternoon.
As we see number 17, Emily Evans, check back into the game for the captains. Another one of those big offensive weapons.
Now here's Knorr. She's turned away by Cameron. What a privilege it is for Lynchburg to have Cameron and Boat right there on the back line for them. Some big defensive plays. Sabaugh turns away Vendricks. Sabaugh gets past Boatwright but can't get past Cameron.
We see some restlessness from the benches. A little bit of contact there on that last play. But Sabaugh is a name we've called several times already today, playing in the midfield for the captains. Giving a big lift, more so on the defensive side, it seems like, and trying to help control this game.
And it seems the captains have changed the game plan a little bit here in the second quarter. You know, if the first half was marked by set plays and the penalty corners, this time captains are kind of just hitting the ball down the field and hoping that their speed can get to it first and make a big play. Just recently you saw Assumption send one into the back line, just dump and chase almost. And then earlier, as we saw, Knorr was able to run onto the other end of one. So here's Assumption. She's turned away by Muir. Muir looks for Giannis on the far sideline. Can't connect.
And you were just touching on the captains really looking to be aggressive, not so much just looking for the set plays. Really interesting to note right now in the game, only one true defender that I see out there in Brooke Billheimer, number 11. And then there is Sabaugh, number 23, playing right there essentially as a defender. So similar to how the Hornets are looking to keep their defenders up. Is right there we see Aaron Boatwright again on the left side of your screen. But Christopher Newport looking for a similar strategy, getting more midfielders and attackers on the field in place of true defenders.
So now as Christopher Newport sets up for their first offensive possession of the match without Assumption out there on the pitch. Pratzner tries to turn the corner. This ball sent inside. Steele was right there, but couldn't connect on it. Well defended there by Nadwoni.
Interesting note on Lainey Pratzner, leading the captains so far this year. Shots on goal percentage, 87.5%.
Intercepted. Pope made a good play. Looking for Malazzosi. Not there. Claybaugh finds herself in the corner there. Two captains surround her. Oh, nifty little play there by Claybaugh to escape the defense. Morales sends it inside. Battle in front. No shots taken yet, and the foul will end the chance there.
Man, Morales just sneaks by Aaron Boatwright, able to put that ball into play right there in the center of the field, but it's just so clustered there, both with captain offensive players as well as Hornet defenders, that it's just hard to get a clean shot off. Obviously, that foul ends the possession, but another good look here for these captains, just sneaking the ball into favorable positions.
Yeah, that was some of the better buildup we've seen so far from the captains. As Assumption is checked back in. Vendricks picks her pocket, looking up the field. Giannis is there. And that one touched her foot. We're headed the other way.
That's going to go down as a little bit of a missed opportunity for the Hornets. Giannis calling for the ball up ahead of every defender in a great position to score. They are able to get that ball, kind of thread the needle through to her, but just can't quite get it there fast enough to be able to make an offensive play. But Giannis certainly putting herself in a good position offensively to make something happen there.
Here she is again. Thompson playing defense on her. Pokes it away. Thompson now across midfield.
What a play to snag that one out of the air.
Yeah, Kessa Romero is able to, as we mentioned, just the 3 assists so far this season, but she's been able to really impact the game. She's been out there, all year for the Hornets, coming back from an injury. It's great to have her back here as the heart and soul of this team now.
Certainly, Kessa Romero, a name that you go back 2, even 3 years, just year in, year out as a consistent presence on this Lynchburg team. He's been a starter for the last several years now. And those 3 assists are tied for the team lead.
Mm-hmm.
So certainly still with an active presence on this team, just not necessarily having her goals find the back of the net. But I'm sure that is certain to come as the year progresses.
Number 12, Megan Mayo, comes on for Lynchburg, and number 12, Malazzi, comes off. Is this one in front? And it's going to be a foul called. Madison Steele had a chance. She was playing with her back towards the cage, and Brady, she is going to make a play here as Assumption sends this one in. And Steele was on a knee when that ball got sent in and unable to fully recover in time to beat Brady.
Brady just does such a good job in the goal of just commanding that space and commanding a use of her entire body, as we saw earlier with the legs. I mean, she can use legs, arms, body, just her whole body to keep shots out of the back of the net.
Not even her body. We've seen her make a couple of really nice plays
with the
stick
stick
save.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just such a command of that goal. And we've seen it a few times today, her hitting the turf and making plays there on the ground.
So after that Johns Hopkins game, she was walking off campus, and I was going in to finish up my work here as the sports information graduate assistant. I told her, it's the best game I've ever seen a goalie play, and she just smiles and laughs a little bit. And then after we had crossed paths, I heard her say under her breath, "Yeah, I did play pretty well." And it was good, that she was able to appreciate her, the greatness that she put on display that afternoon.
Oh, certainly. Facing upwards of 20 shots, and you don't allow a single one of them to face the back of the net. You touched on those 16 saves earlier. It's almost unfathomable to not let a single one of those shots on goal find a way past you.
And she's already made 6 saves this afternoon, as the captains have pretty much set up camp, Christopher Newport setting up port in Lynchburg's defensive zone here.
See what Lynchburg's able to do here, coming off that reset as they do push it into the left side of the field.
Getting to see the speed of Mayo there, chasing it down.
It is corralled by Billheimer and the captains, and once again we see the ball into the right side. A lot of Hornet defenders and midfielders back there, though, to quell that brief attack from the captains. So we tick inside of 20 seconds in this first half.
Yeah, getting ready for halftime here. Neither team has been able to get anything on the board, but Sam, I think you'd agree with me. It's been all CNU so far, with the the underscore of Brady's great performance in the cage once again. As the clock hits 0, for good measure, Brady keeps that one out of the goal. But we're going to halftime tied 0-0, Sam, and I don't know if necessarily if the weather's playing a factor, but this kind of has signals of the Johns Hopkins match a couple weeks ago, as the captains, out shooting the Hornets, and the Hornets have those 2 shots, both of them on frame, and Kerr was able to make the save. As we see a couple more of these opportunities from the captains here, there's one that nearly, changed the way this game went, and then again, Brady making a big play. So there's been some close chances. What has impressed you from both sides here, Sam?
Well, as you touched on, we have seen, a ton of this action being played on the right side of the field. I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if that continues. And you touched on that Johns Hopkins game. It's going to be about if Lynchburg can convert on those opportunities when they arise. So we'll talk about the third quarter some in this halftime show. It's been a big thing for the Captains so far, an area they've really thrived. So we'll step aside now and come back to talk about highlights, stats, numbers to watch, all that good stuff here at the half.
We'll be right back. Yeah, did you see this?
This is the dough. It's wicked cute. It's always so pretty.
Every great college has a great city. For Lynchburg, we are near urban areas with lots of restaurants, shopping, and events. Plus, we are one of the top schools in the area. Come see for yourself.
Be ready for anything, okay?
Come on, let's go together. Together, let's go. Come on. Let's go, keep going.
Ready for the death trip? Straight? Straight up? Yep. Yeah. Cool. Good one. All right, guys, you see the meat grinder down here? Stay in the boat. Let's go. Camera? Oh, what'd you think of that? Woo!
All right, halftime here, about 5 minutes before we resume play. And you can't tell much from that score so far, 0-0, but hopefully some of these numbers will help paint the picture a little bit better. You look at it, you know, Christopher Newport is out shooting the Hornets, but the saves on the other side for Brady, 6 of them so far. She's on pace for 12. Double-digit save performance would be huge for the Hornets. And then the penalty corners were a dime a dozen in the first quarter and only one of them in the second quarter. Christopher Newport 3 of 2 there. And it's been kind of one-sided as Christopher Newport's been anchored in Lynchburg's defensive zone. And the Hornets have a couple of possessions, most of them coming in that first quarter.
Yeah, and credit to those Lynchburg defenders that we've touched on a few times today.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of star power on the Christopher Newport offense. You think about people like Emma Logue, Delaney Knorr, Abby Asuncion obviously was our player to watch and reigning conference player of the year. Those three players combined only have 4 shots through that first half. So, I mean, credit to Kayla Brady first and foremost, but really the whole Lynchburg defense and going a long way to quell that attack that, like we touched on earlier, has scored 5+ goals in 4 of their matches coming into today. So see if that continues in the second half. But like we said at the end of the first quarter, a low-scoring game certainly favors Lynchburg.
Mm-hmm.
And really the other side of that puzzle, and something to keep an eye on as we get into the second half, the third quarter has been very kind to the captains. When they score their most points, it's when they take their most shots. I would expect they will continue to put the pressure on as they did really in that second quarter, maybe even more so. Expect them to come out of the gate swinging and ready to put some points on the board.
Yeah, not sure they need to make any adjustments, but we'll see what these two teams have in store for us. The final 30 minutes coming up here on LHSN.
I wanted to be a physical therapist probably starting about halfway through college. I love the concept that exercise is medicine. We're starting to discover that exercise really can remedy many of the things that we thought that only surgery or only drugs could remedy in the past. When the student comes here, it's because we believe in them, it's because we want them here, it's because we believe they'll be successful. The faculty here are devoted to their development, not only academically but also professionally. We're not so inundated with things that we don't have time to make students one of our highest priorities. We have your back. We're gonna help you through that. If you're willing to work, then we're willing to put the work into it and the effort to help you succeed.
This video isn't about me. It's about the limitless possibilities that the University of Lynchburg allows me to be. An athlete, an artist, an adventurer, a writer, a believer, a human. Because what I love about the University of Lynchburg is that they have a saying, here we're home. And honestly though, I think a better fit would be a home for everyone. Because it doesn't matter the color of your skin, the person you love, the God you pray to, the pronouns you use, the city you're from, the language you speak. University of Lynchburg gives you the greatest opportunity they can for you to be the absolute best version of yourself.
Tim LaDuca and Sam Graham here with you for the second half of action between the Lynchburg Hornets and the Christopher Newport Captains. It's been a good one so far. No scoring, but we've still been entertained, especially by Christopher Newport's prowess on offense. And Sam, you're the announcer today. You're the color guy. But I'm going to ask you to step into another job. Give me a prediction here. What's going to happen here in the second half?
So we've touched on this a few times. If it's a high-scoring affair, it certainly favors the captains. If it's low-scoring, it certainly favors Lynchburg. It's low-scoring, yet the captains have put a lot of pressure on this Lynchburg defense. We touched on that third quarter tendency by CNU to really put the pressure on. Certainly think they will do that. Oh, man. I don't see a way that this stays at 0-0, But I think we're looking at a 2-1, 3-2 type game.
Wow.
We'll see. We'll see how many of these opportunities come up. But, I mean, the first thing is getting opportunities. It's 4 so far for Lynchburg. That's just total shots. 9 for the Captains, total 13. Coming into today, these two teams average 52 shots a game between the two of them. Just 13 combined in that first half. I mean, even given how disruptive this Lynchburg defense can be, that surprises me a lot to be that far off the pace for both of these teams. So we'll have to wait and see, but let's say 2-1. I can't tell you who's going to end up coming out on top, but I think 2-1. I think we're going to see some goals here in the second half.
Diplomatic answer, not picking a team. I like that. But 2-1, I see this one, you know, 1 goal is scored here, and that's going to be the difference in here in the second half. As we reorient ourselves with Christopher Newport now shooting on your left, headed towards Turner Gymnasium. Hornets now going left to right underneath the beautiful video board there on the right side of the Jack M. Toms track. So, possession early on still dominated by the Captains.
And talking about that score, well, I didn't explicitly give you a winner. What I will give you is in CNU's 3 losses up to this point, 2-0 to Franklin and Marshall, 3-2 against Bryn Mawr, and 2-1 against then 14th ranked Washington and Lee, who happens to be the next opponent for these Lynchburg Hornets. So, judging off those scores, one would think that a 2-1 final would favor Lynchburg in this case, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, interesting. The Captains got to test the Generals first, and they fell by a 2-1 score. Lynchburg is getting ready for a date with the Generals here on Schellenberger Field on Wednesday, so tough gauntlet of a schedule. It would be great for the Hornets to kick off this tough slate of games with a win against a team like CNU.
Yeah, this is part of a 3-game homestand. That homestand will also include Shenandoah on the tail end of it, another nationally ranked team. ODAC very strong in field hockey. And, yeah, you touch on the schedule. Schedule's not been quite as tough as it was last year. But, I mean, you look at the game against Hopkins as Brady makes another save. And that one just swings wide right. Yeah, Brady stepping in to make that initial save there, though, her 7th of the day.
First, it was Knorr who slipped past the defense in one of those big plays that gets a player loose on the back end, and then cleaning up on the rebound, Alexis Morales sent that one wide. So that'll get your heartbeat going, and maybe it forces both teams here to really lock in.
That second effort by Morales, really, really similar to that one shot that we saw in the first half that just glanced off of that goal post. You look at that replay that we just saw a moment ago, and it just narrowly missed on that right side of the goal. But credit to Brady stepping in there to make that first initial block for the Hornets.
So you have Brady who's fighting for her life here in the cage, and you look across the field to Lily Kerr, and she's probably hanging out, blowing a couple bubbles, chewing on some bubble gum over there, just enjoying the day. But, yeah, Lynchburg really hasn't been able to test the freshman. And it would be nice to see them, see what she's got. Only a couple matches played here. And as we mentioned, only the 1 goal allowed was against Washington and Lee.
Certainly. She's only faced 2 shots on goal so far today. We did have that one, what looked like was going to be an opportunity with Emily Giannis kind of getting open downfield, but did not ultimately amount to such an opportunity. A quick anecdote for you, as we see a lot of pressure down here again from CNU. Brady just kicks it out of the way, but play was blown dead before then as the Hornets take over. But when I was a child, I used to play soccer down at the YMCA, and my dad was the coach, and the one position I was never allowed to play was goalie because I always got distracted picking dandelions over there in the field. So problem was that when I was picking dandelions, people were scoring on me. It's not been the case so far from this Hornet offense.
I'm more concerned with why your field is so poorly kept that it has weeds growing on it. Got to play on a nice clean surface, free of any dandelions or any other flowers and such. But
absolutely.
No dandelions here on the synthetic turf of Schellenberger Field.
Great little move there.
Yeah, Lamb faked it as Nora kind of came from underneath her. And Lamb was able to keep everybody safe for one, but also make a good play. Now Lamb carries it up the near sideline. Plays it off the body of Thompson. And the Hornets maintain possession.
Tell you what, Lamb was on a mission there. Looked like she would have been totally fine taking that one coast to coast. And doing it herself. Had a full head of steam. Just narrowly gets tripped up by that Christopher Newport defense.
Thompson finds Morales. Morales battles Lamb. Lamb wins that skirmish. Kess Romero finds Vendricks. Vendricks is unable to get past Billheimer. Good play there. Billheimer, long pass up the near sideline and touched out of bounds in front of the Lynchburg bench. That was Delaney Knorr.
Just not quite able to corral it there, and the Hornets are able to take possession off that. But great couple possessions there from Lamb. First had the subtle little fake to keep the initial possession alive, and then forces a turnover just a few moments later.
That one's played in by Giannis, not touched by anyone on Christopher Newport's side, and we're going the other way. But it seems like now Lynchburg is starting to crack the code a little bit, and not only turning away the Christopher Newport chances, but also starting to get past the midfield here.
Absolutely. That's why you love to see plays like we just saw from Lamb. It's going to take some of those midfielders and defenders forcing some of those turnovers further up on the field, as Boatwright just attempted to do there and does disrupt the play. It's going to take some of that to start to flip this field and get more of the action going on the right side of the field, which is where most of the action was in that first half. But obviously we switched sides here, and now that is Lynchburg's attacking third.
Just moved to get past Arthur. Puts the brakes on, turns around, looking to switch the field. Vendricks in the middle, but jumping that pass was Billheimer.
And then Romero with a fantastic job of just poking that ball away.
Romero dribbling through some of the defense. And Asuncion fouls Romero, and we're going to have a penalty corner here, the first of the second half. This time it's Lynchburg's chance.
So I don't know if it's just something about the right side of the field, or maybe it's just a renewed intensity from this Lynchburg offense, but we're seeing a lot of action here to our right. And yeah, now we get the third penalty corner of the game for Lynchburg. They now take the lead in that category, actually. We were tied 2-2 there at the half.
Here's Claybaugh, the insert. Cameron, that one goes underneath her stick. And going the other way now is Pratzner. Here's the counterattack. Steele whiffs on that one at midfield and then fouls Muir.
Yeah, a reminder that it is still raining out here. We see that first ball squeak by Cameron, and then a whiff there from the captains just moments later. So wet turf, still a factor down there, it appears.
Steele working with Lamb. And we're going to have a clock stop here. And Lamb will be shown the first caution. It's going to be a 2-minute green card on the freshman. So Lamb had been playing well, and she pushed the limits a little bit there, and she's going to get flagged for it.
Well, and that's obviously the drawback to playing with an enhanced intensity, as you see there, Steele just hitting the deck, getting tangled up there with Lamb. But yeah, I mean, really where we saw Lamb start to become a factor here is just, that increased intensity, looking to push the ball up the field, looking to disrupt what CNU's trying to do on offense. But yeah, there's a drawback to that at times, and that can be some physical play, and Lamb saw that drawback there.
I like how you called it renewed intensity. It's a good band name if anyone's looking for a name for their group.
Certainly. That's the first thing I've noticed so far in this third quarter. We kind of expected CNU to be the team that would really look to be aggressive and push, and not that they haven't, but yeah, more of this game being spent on Lynchburg's attacking third, and you see those midfielders and defenders looking to push the ball up the field, looking to retain possession as much as possible.
Some new faces out there for the Hornets now. Not only her first time out there in this game, but new to the program. Madison Adcock's out there now in the attacking position for the Hornets. Cameron's able to stop this attack and draw the foul from Billheimer.
And we talked on some of the young players on this Lynchburg team earlier in the broadcast. Adcock's certainly one of those as a freshman, but she's right there near the top of the team lead in shot percentage, 33.3% coming into today. Certainly a big boost when you get such quality play out of your freshmen and sophomores. Encouraging for the years to come.
Romero almost is able to connect with Adcock on the other end there, but that one's going to roll out of play. And Suba will do her usual duty. That's off the shin guard of Giannis.
Somehow keeps it in play there on the top of your screen.
And since there was no whistle, it was just a nice play by Giannis, able to get the stick on that one. Good play there. Long ball.
That ball scoots by everybody.
Yeah, and so that's something to keep an eye on. That's the second time now we've seen the ball kind of just skip out of the possession of Cameron. And it's just tough to corral the ball on this surface. It's so slick, rainy, a little bumpy, a little more bumpy than a traditional field hockey surface would be.
See Lainey Pratzner check back into the game for the Captains. Another big part of that offensive attack. And now we see finally a shot find the back of the net.
Yeah, and it's Asuncion. She just dribbles her way in and takes a firm shot and hits the back of the cage to take the lead. So kind of droning on there in the last couple minutes, and with Lynchburg down a player after the Lamb green card, the Captains are able to capitalize. 1-0 CNU, taking the lead over the nationally ranked Hornets on their own field.
You saw there on that last replay, just stepping up into the ball, knocking it right to the left side, the right side of Brady. As she kind of makes a move on it, you just kind of play the position game and able to squeeze it by her. It's not easy to score on Kayla Brady in this Hornets defense.
Conversely now, the Hornets see if they can shift their momentum. Kerr has not really been tested at all in this second half, so may not be ready for an increased intensity here if it starts coming the other way, but the Captain's now looking to add on. This ball goes out the back.
Interesting to note coming into today, CNU 3-1 on the road. That one loss was that 2-1 game that they dropped to Washington and Lee, another nationally ranked opponent. So this team does not shy away from a road contest.
Yeah, but conversely, this is the first time that Lynchburg's been scored on since September 18th against Dickinson. So it was just two matches, at Center and Earlham. They shut out their opponents in Kentucky last weekend. Unfamiliar feeling for the Hornets playing from behind now. See how they respond. Suba gets it inside. The shot, defensive save there by Lamb. Great play. And penalty corner coming up, but excellent play there by the freshman. As Belial took a shot.
We see the replay here. Obviously, we talked earlier, you don't want to give up too many penalty corners, but if you're Lynchburg here, you're just thankful to force the penalty corner and not give up your second goal in just a few minutes there. I mean, Lamb comes in and just makes a fantastic save to keep that one out of the back of the net, the cage rather. Whew, close call there for the Hornets.
Yeah, Morales almost had this one extended to 2. Suba takes a shot. Poked away. Suba once again. Her shot kicked away by Brady. Here's Morales, and quickly extending the lead to 2-0. Alexis Morales finds the back of the cage, and things are looking up for the Captains now. We'll see this one. Suba takes a shot, kicked away by Brady, but Morales was able to connect on it just in the perfect spot. Look at the joy as the Captains are just pouring it on now with just 3 minutes left here in the third quarter.
Well, and Brady makes 2 plays on that ball to keep it away from the cage before it ultimately finds the back. She puts herself in a good position. It's just there's too many Captains there. And again, you play the position game. You find a lane to get that ball into the back of the net, and you're able to capitalize. We talked earlier, one can expect that's now the 8th goal of the season off of penalty corners for this Captains team. So you expect them to score 1 pretty much every game, and they're able to do that here today. And we now see, we talked about that third quarter, upping the pressure from the Captains. We see 2 quick goals. It did take until this last third of the quarter, but it came no less.
So you're telling me the Captains scored in the third quarter of the third quarter?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, certainly.
It's pretty deep. But anyways, it's looking even farther back up the calendar. It's the first time Lynchburg's given up 2 goals since beating Juniata at Ursinus on September 11th. Nearly half a month ago, or over half a month ago. So unfamiliar territory now for the Hornets, who are now in jeopardy of losing their 6-game winning streak.
And we're going to see another penalty corner here for the Captains. And just interesting to note very quickly, we were tied 4-4 in terms of shots at the half between these two teams. That disparity is now 16-4 in favor of Christopher Newport. So despite Lynchburg putting some of the pressure on the right side of the field early in this quarter, they were not able to really create any opportunities for themselves. And once Christopher Newport found their way back onto this left side of the field, they are absolutely finding and capitalizing on those opportunities.
Yeah, this is a big play here for Lynchburg. Obviously, Christopher Newport's opportunity on the penalty corner, but if Lynchburg's able to turn them away, facing a 2-goal lead in the fourth quarter, not insurmountable. Morales' shot almost finds Core on the back end. Lynchburg sneaks away there.
Morales once again with a shot sailing just wide of the goal. We see the replay of it here. She sets it up very well, makes good contact with it. Once again, just slightly goes off to that left side. But luckily for Lynchburg, they avoid giving up a 3rd goal in the last 5 minutes of this quarter.
Yeah, so now we only got 45 seconds here in the 3rd quarter. Lynchburg's going to have an uphill battle to get through the midfield and also try to work past this 2-0 advantage for the Captains.
And
quickly, Subaw picks it back up in the midfield and stops Lynchburg's chance.
When you see as Lynchburg moves Sydney Rowe further up the field, she's back there, just her and Billheimer back behind everybody else. You want to have somebody down there in a position to create an opportunity to score a goal if possible.
10 seconds here as Vendricks tries to escape by Subaw, unable to do so. Oches now. Time's going to expire as these two teams toil in the midfield. And, well, that came out of nowhere, kind of, but Christopher Newport had dominated possessions on the first half, and now they're getting to reap the benefits of those efforts in the 3rd quarter. Big smiles on the faces of the Captains players as we're going to look at some of these goals. There's the reigning player of the year from their conference for CNU, Asuncion, and Morales doubles the lead.
A monsoon of goals on a rainy day on Schellenberger Field to close out the Captains' dominating 3rd quarter performance that continues this season. We will step aside and return for the 4th and final quarter of action here between the Captains and the Hornets.
I was really attracted to Lynchburg primarily because my dad went here. He is an alum, so I kind of had that close tie of being interested in this school. And the school had what I wanted to study. I knew I wanted to help people in the area of health and wellness, so the health promotion program was definitely a program that drew me in. And from day one, I've been in love with it, and I wouldn't have chosen any different. I have never had better professors or teachers in my life, and I think here at the University of Lynchburg, the professors definitely care about their students, especially in the health promotion department. These professors want you to be educated, want you to have the experience, and just want you to feel confident going into your career path following your collegiate education. You just feel like you're cared for here and that you matter, and that no matter what, at the end of the day, you're going to be successful, and the people here really want to be here, and everyone has a purpose, and it's just a great environment to be in.
Underway here, fourth quarter of action. And Christopher Newport starts this one with a 2-goal advantage. Lynchburg had a penalty corner in the early going in the third. And that is really their only opportunity. On the other end, Christopher Newport comes through in the big way. Asuncion gets the first goal. Morales shortly thereafter on the penalty corner. And Christopher Newport now maybe looking to sit on top of this lead, but with their high-powered offense, maybe looking to add a little bit more insurance.
Lynchburg came out of the half certainly with an eye on the goal. We said renewed intensity in the first half. Band name or not,
yep.
a lot of that was definitely sparked by number 9 there, Mallory Lamb. She ended up had the contact down here on the left side of the field, and it seemed like pretty much once she got pulled out of the game with that green card, things started to change. Obviously, it's a team sport, but it's got to be hard when somebody who's really going a long way and sparking your team's effort there to start that second half gets pulled out of the game.
Well, there she is again. You know, as Christopher Newport tries to make their way up this near sideline in front of both benches, and Lamb's right there to turn them away, and the captains have to navigate a new course.
I could sit here and listen to you make captain puns all day long. Second one of the day.
You only got 13 and a half more minutes of it, don't worry. As Morales carries this one in. Play's going to be whistled dead. As Cameron looks over her options here, she tries to get this Lynchburg offense started. Mark, she looks up the field, and a big swing narrowly misses Lainey Pratzner. That one was just a little scary.
Saw Pratzner wince there as that stick starts to come flying up at her face.
Yeah, that was just scary. We're glad everyone's okay there. But now switching fields. Otjes. Her pass. Playing the long ball. Behind is Rowe. The pass to Rowe. It goes into the net. Rowe, what a play from Madison Mark. Turns the corner on Kerr. And hey, don't look now, but now we got a one-score game as Rowe snuck behind the defense. There's the pass from Mark. Rowe positioned herself perfectly right in front, you know, kind of just blinding Kerr, and that ball rolls in. And Rowe is the hero against Johns Hopkins, and she does it again now. As this thing's looking up, 12 and a half minutes to go.
It's funny that you mentioned the Johns Hopkins. We also mentioned there late in the third quarter, they moved Rowe back. She was kind of hanging out top right side of your screen, ready if an opportunity should present itself. And there you see that opportunity present itself quite clearly. Takes a little bit of contact there from Kerr, but is able to just kind of squeak that ball as it just slowly rolled across the cage line, and it ultimately finds the back.
Here's another chance. Vendricks with numbers ahead. She's stopped by Bellheimer.
6 captains find their way back there on defense, able to kind of clog that lane that the Hornets were trying to set up.
Here's Lamb, near side.
Play blown dead. We get a green card.
That's going to go against Alexis Morales. So not only do the captains lose an offensive superstar, but now they're playing with the player disadvantage. And this is right where CNU was able to take advantage last quarter when Lamb went off. And now it's time for the Hornets to try to equalize this game.
Certainly, and oh man, Morales has been fantastic so far today. You just look at her stat line real quick. 5 shots, 2 of them on goal, and then obviously that second goal in that third quarter that we just witnessed, putting the captains up 2-0. That's not somebody you want to see have to take a seat on the bench.
Brady makes the save there on the cross. Maybe not much of a save, it's just a claim. Otjes sends this one up. Gets past Vendricks and into the position of Subaugh. Redirected by Boatwright.
And Brady hasn't faced quite as many shots as she did in that Hopkins game. As we take a look at the replay here, yep, we talked earlier, she does a great job using her stick, her arms, and her legs to make saves. There uses, sticks a hand out and just able to kind of corral that ball, but again, has not seen as many shots on goal as she did against Johns Hopkins, but has now seen 12, has saved 10 of them. And she will continue to be a focal point through this fourth quarter, I'm sure.
Vendricks can't get by Abenchain. And Abenchain still has it now, contested by Claybaugh. Claybaugh's going to get called for the foul.
And it's funny, we went 40 minutes and 41 seconds without a goal in this contest. We've now seen 3 in less than 7 minutes between that first goal and then the goal by Sydney Rowe that we saw just a few moments ago.
Less than a minute left here on the Morales penalty. Or less than 10 seconds, excuse me, as Morales is back out there and back to even strength. So Lynchburg, with the extra player on the field, unable to even possess the ball across midfield.
That's a great job by the captains of really bearing down and saying, hey, all right, one of our best offensive weapons is not on the field right now. It's one thing to say, all right, maybe we don't look to score, but yeah, they hold possession that whole time, and they even get a shot up.
Here's a shot from Vendricks in the air. Rowe reached to poke it away and redirect it into the net, but unable to get anything on it.
We've seen a couple shots like that from Morales so far today that we've touched on. There we see one on the other side of the field. We're going to take another look at it here. Wendricks comes down, puts it up in the air. Rowe goes up for it with her stick, but just sails it down the left side of the cage.
Claybaugh. She's been a goal scorer in the last couple games. Vendricks thinking about it. Turns away. Her shot. Unable to connect. Good defense there by Asuncion.
Yeah, it looked like once again there you saw Wendricks just not quite make full contact with the ball. CNU was certainly there on defense as well, so it looks like it may have also been deflected, but I doubt that Wendricks got all of what she was aiming for there.
Yeah, and the freshman from Utrecht, Netherlands, has just a great sense of where the goal is. She's able to make a lot of good plays with her back towards the cage, and she can just turn and fire without even looking at her target and connect on the other end. So we'll keep an eye on Vendricks here the rest of the way as we got 8 minutes to play. Lynchburg trails by 1 here on LHSN. I'm Tim LaDuca. I'm joined by cross-country superstar here at Lynchburg, Sam Graham, and distance indoor and outdoor track runner, one of our favorite student athletes to work with here at LHSN.
Oh, you're too kind.
Uh,
It's a pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
We're filling in for TJ Wingert, who's the voice of the Hornets, your beloved play-by-play announcer. But in the meantime, we're going to watch Romero here. Gets past Bellheimer. Past another captain. Her shot. Stopped in front.
That was a great couple of moves there from Romero. We've seen a couple of moves like that from several members of this Hornets team today. But once again, you just see the captains clogging up those scoring lanes. But this possession will ultimately end in setting up a penalty corner, a set play opportunity for these Hornets. I believe this is their 4th of the game. It's going to be really important to see if they can capitalize here.
And, of course, it's Claybaugh who's going to go and insert this one for the home team. Kerr and her 4 teammates are in the cage waiting for Claybaugh's insertion. And it's dummied to Cameron, and her shot touches the Hornet offensive player, and it's going to be captain's ball. Interesting there. Romero decided to let that one go all the way back to Cameron. Cameron put a good stroke on it, and it's just a little bit off target. No one on the other end to redirect it. With her shot also coming from outside the arc, it was going to have to be touched before it went into the cage anyway.
Almost looked like Cameron was a little bit surprised that ball made its way to her.
Yep.
But she does manage to turn around and corral it. And, yeah, put a great stroke on the ball, just like we've been saying several times this quarter. CNU doing a great job of clogging those lanes, making it hard for a ball to find its way to the back of the cage and making it life a lot easier on their goalkeeper.
Because Kerr has not made a save since the first quarter. 2 shots for Lynchburg in that first 15 minutes. And the freshman came up big. But since then, Lynchburg, nothing going in the second, nothing going in the third. And once they test her again in the fourth, they are able to get some Some points. Now that the script is flipped now, Lynchburg has outpossessed the Captains here in this last, five or so minutes?
Certainly. And it's interesting, as we saw Steele jog off there just a moment ago, but Sydney Rowe, the lone goal scorer today for the Hornets, is also taking up a spot on the bench. Imagine she'll go back in here soon.
She came off the bench, though, to come be an impact player here. And, again, she's in her first season. So here's Boatwright. Can try to switch the field with Cameron now. Cameron assesses. Up to Lamb. Lamb pokes it past Pratzner. And out of play. This will be Thompson now. With 5.5 minutes remaining in this game. Lynchburg down by 1. Giannis. Well defended. Morales made a good play there and draws the foul.
And the important thing here, too, if you're Lynchburg, you look up at the clock, there's still 5:17. There's no need to start panicking just yet.
Nope.
You can still, set up your offense, run plays. There's no need to get desperate at this point in the game. You're only down by 1 goal, and you've really controlled the tone and tempo of this fourth quarter from start to finish so far.
Yeah, I mean, even just think about how quickly the Captains were able to score, 2 goals in 2 minutes or so. Claybaugh to Giannis. Giannis. She'll take a whack at it. Vendricks was there. Oh, stepping in front of it, though, was the Captains' defense.
Giannis putting a strong stroke on it there to get it through a few defenders. Touched on earlier, she is the leading goal scorer with 8 goals coming into today's game for these Hornets. You got to be thinking, too. We saw in that first half that play where Giannis just kind of snuck by everybody. She had her stick in the air calling for the ball. The ball does eventually make it to her just a tad too late, and she's not quite able to set something up, but that's a dangerous goal scorer and just an opportunity that if this score holds, it's going to come back to haunt you a little bit if you're Lynchburg.
Lamb is going to get called for the dangerous ball as she hit that one right into Knorr. .240 seconds, give or take, left in the game.
Great quick math there.
Does that sound like more or less than 4 minutes? If you had
Certain, I would say it sounds like more.
Okay, well, it's the same amount. Here's Vendricks. Vendricks has Mayo. Mayo, no one in front of her. Doesn't take the shot. Passes. Vendricks battles for it. Her back's to the goal. And a foul whistled. Stops Lynchburg's attack, and that one was building up to be great for the Hornets.
If you're Lynchburg, that's really got to be a bit of a frustrating possession as Kerr gets drawn out of the goal, runs up to try and make a play, but the shot just hesitate a little bit on it and end up kind of playing your way out of that opportunity. Talked about the Giannis play from that first half. That's going to be another one. You have numbers coming down the field, and you get the goalie outside of the goal.
Here comes Knorr now on the other end. Cameron comes in to save the day momentarily, and Lamb cleans it up. This one's off the back line, so it'll stay with the Captains, but some exciting moments here with 2:30 left.
Yeah, not much of what Lamb has contributed today will go into the scoreboard, or excuse me, the box score. So we take a look at the replay. She comes in there and just scoops that ball right out of there. But again, not much of her contribution will show up in the box score other than that one defensive save earlier in this half. But she has been fantastic defensively for these Hornets.
All right, so this is big here as Claybaugh's been carded, and she's going to have to sit out just about the remainder of the match. Her penalty is going to expire with 28 seconds left as long as the Captains are unable to score. So 2:28 on when the green card went. Claybaugh will come back in 2 minutes, but Lynchburg's going to try to score down a player on the field. It would be a miraculous sequence of events here if they could get this done. But the Captains holding on now to a 2-1 lead.
The ball gets away from Romero and scoots out of bounds. Yeah, I mean, we saw C&U when they were a player down earlier. still make their way up the field and get a shot off. So certainly not impossible, but the odds not in Lynchburg's favor to find the equalizer with Clayball on the bench, also given that Clayball is a big part of this Lynchburg offense.
So here's Thompson. It's to Lamb now. The Lynchburg sideline calling out to work things to the corner as time is running out. 1:20 left. And there's not a ball in play right now. And now there's 2 balls in play.
A little bit of confusion there on the sidelines.
Thompson
Very frustrating if you're a team in this game, especially if you're Lynchburg. Actually, probably not that frustrating if you're Christopher Newport.
You're content to see that clock run out. 60 seconds left.
This very well may be the last possession for Lynchburg.
Yeah, it's really time for both sides to lock in. Cameron with a big stroke across midfield. It's settled. 2 Hornets converge. Giannis comes out with the loose ball. She's got Vendricks, but Subaugh steps in front of it. 40 seconds now. A foot race to the sideline.
And Subaugh, much like Lamb, not necessarily going to show up much in the box score, but has been huge for Christopher Newport, keeping them in the game.
26 seconds now. Claybaugh, she's back. We're back at equal strength. 20 seconds. Turnover there. Coming from Billheimer. Lynchburg's got the ball. It's Romero, has to go quick. Turned away by Morales, good play. 8 seconds now. And uncontested, Thompson's going to dribble this one into the corner. And time's going to expire without too many more dramatics. And CNU celebrates. They take their second straight game against the Hornets. And take a victory, 2-1. There's a nail-biter down at the end, though.
It was. Well, you see Coach Enza Steele looking a little bit disappointed with how that last possession played out. You heard her counting down the time. We got to about 8-9 seconds when CNU corralled that last ball, but it seemed like most of the Hornets players just kind of watched it happen almost. Now, granted, it was going to be hard to set up a play in that amount of time, but I'm sure that's got to be a little frustrating for the veteran coach to see your team not necessarily run up to make a play on that ball.
So Lily Kerr, the freshman goalkeeper for CNU, came in, only allowed 1 goal. She did let up another goal today, but came up when it mattered most, stopping Megan Mayo in the closing minutes as the Hornets search for the equalizer. And so the first goal of the game came from Assumption, found the back of the net. CNU went up. And this is when the Hornets were able to draw within 1 as Rowe made a good play to deceive Kerr. Good save there by Brady, who, she does let up those 2 goals. That one's from Morales there. That was the one that put CNU up 2-0. And then, as we said, they were able to, tie things back up. But Brady played well in net, as she has all season and pretty much her whole career. As the teams shake hands. Not much else to say, but CNU came in, had a game plan, and was able to execute it. And how about that final score prediction from your man Sam Graham?
Certainly.
Hits it on the head. CNU upsets Lynchburg, 17th ranked team in the country. Quick turnaround, though, on Wednesday. The Hornets will be right here on Schellenberger Field for their first conference matchup of the year against Washington and Lee. It's going to be must-see on LHSN, as always. That one's going to face off at 4 o'clock. Well, for Sam Graham, I'm Tim LaDuca. And thanks for bearing with us through the elements today. Stay safe.